Brand Ross with The Rock Never Stops. We got Philly tonight. We got Philly today. Well, today over here, tonight over there on the East Coast. This should be one hell of a game. The Philadelphia 76ers, I'm not going to say are hot, but they look good. They look like they have some key talents, players, leaders, shot makers, creators at key positions that could potentially really cause a lot of issues for the Detroit Pistons. And I want to dive into that in this video. But before I do, smash the like button for me, hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. As always, small thing for y'all, big thing for the channel. I really appreciate all the love and support because, sometimes it feels good to know that your videos are actually appreciated or seen or being watched and stuff like that. But either way, I'm going to keep doing it whether y'all smash the like button or not. But I do appreciate it when you do. So please do. um, Let me just start off by saying both teams have been really hot. Um, both teams have been really hot. And this will be a clash of styles to a degree. The Detroit Pistons are a very interior oriented team offensively. They're a team that relies on dominating the glass, being able to contain on the perimeter, pressure you. Um, their pace is pretty good, but it tends to slow down a lot, especially when they're not creating and generating turnovers, which they tend to depend upon their ability to pressure along the perimeter. That's Asar Thompson, Ron Holland, Cade Cunningham, and generate turnovers in that manner. And yet the Philadelphia 76ers are kind of like on the other end of the spectrum, where they're a highly perimeter-oriented team. They get up a lot of threes between Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, um, Quentin Grimes, Kelly Oubre. Then you add in Jared McCain's return. You got Jabari Walker puts up threes. Joel Embiid has been far more perimeter oriented, and he's been that over the years. But now that's kind of how he's making more of his living. But at the same time, Joel Embiid, I wouldn't say he's really adverse to physicality. He's able to positionally hold his ground, even if not laterally and mobility wise. And so it'll be really interesting to see how the Detroit Pistons attack this team. Right off the bat, I would say they have to run. They have to run. Jalen Duren has to run. And I think he will. I think he will because I think Jalen Duren is, he has to be excited. Jalen Duren at this point in his career has to be excited. When you are emerging as an NBA talent, when you are finding yourself playing at a high level and you're beginning to get recognized, I actually heard, I don't even know if I would call him a Detroit Pistons content creator. I want to get the actual name of him because I don't want to necessarily shame this dude, but I do want to point out, bro, where did this take come from? He actually said, I think it's Ty Small. He actually credited Jalen Duren with being the linchpin of our defense. He said he can potentially make an all defensive team. And I said to myself, I was like, wow, how things have turned that people are casually referring to Jalen Duren as a defensive center that is holding down one of the top defenses in the league. Because I thought it was pretty much understood that's Asar Thompson and Isaiah Stewart. But it was just interesting. It was just interesting. And so when you begin to get all this attention, all this fanfare, you begin to kind of build your own sense of confidence and potentially an internal determination to say, I want to continue to perform, to kind of get these accolades, to get this recognition, to get this fanfare. And so I think that Jalen Duren is going to come out looking to prove his fans right, prove the novices right. Even the opportunity to rewrite a narrative that I would say up until maybe just, yesterday, nobody would have thought that Jalen Duren was a defensive-minded center. But lo and behold, look at what you can do when you stop getting into foul trouble and you have better perimeter containment. But this is kind of where I think the challenge lies for the Detroit Pistons. Do they really have perimeter containment? Look, let's be 100% clear. Duncan Robinson is an issue for the Detroit Pistons perimeter defense. He's an absolute issue. He is the definition of a cone. I'm not saying he doesn't give effort. He's been given more and more effort, but I don't think it's about effort with him. He can't contain small, shifty guards. Peyton Pritchard ate his ass up. And so if Peyton Pritchard is eating your ass up, how are you going to stay in front of VJ Edgecombe? How are you going to stay in front of Tyrese Maxey? How are you going to stay in front of Quentin Grimes? Let alone Jared McCain, all who have the ability to score on three levels. I don't even know how he stays in front of Kelly Oubre. And so, as much as I'm hopeful that the Detroit Pistons can pull this out, it will be interesting to see JB Bickerstaff's scheming for this game. Is he going to come in with Ron Holland sooner? How is he going to cover for Duncan Robinson, maybe struggling to contain on the perimeter against those quicker, more athletic guards? Can Jalen Duren stay out of foul trouble with those guards likely getting downhill? Shoot, with Joel Embiid's pressure. All these things I'm anticipating watching in this game. I'm also curious, with Isaiah Stewart likely going to be out, is Tobias Harris going to be ready to play? I haven't seen anything yet saying if he is or not, so y'all let me know in the chat section if he is or not. I'm not anticipating Isaiah Stewart being ready, but considering that Tobias Harris and one Paul Reed were previous Philadelphia 76ers only a couple seasons ago, I would not be shocked that both of them are pretty amped up to play this game, especially in a game where it's the clash of two Eastern Conference teams that are kind of at the top. Just like Milwaukee facing Chicago or Cleveland facing Chicago, right? Like you have two teams that have a winning record, well above 500. And I know it's not saying a whole lot considering it's just like 7-2, 6-2, 6-3, stuff like that. But it's still teams that are playing good ball, are playing well, and so there is a little bit more energy behind it from the players, staffs, the media. People will be looking at this game to really kind of validate like where these teams are really at. And let's make no mistake about it. Joel Embiid is going to put pressure on Jalen Duren. He's going to. He's going to look to rip through, try to get a foul call. He's going to look to get that three ball off. He's going to look to put pressure on Duren before Duren can put pressure on him. And so I'm curious to see how this team is going to try to navigate these different competitive points. Containment, interior battle of the bigs, right? This is one of those defining games. Is Joel Embiid still an all-star? Right? Like most of the time, like sometimes Joel Embiid tends to only play the games when he has a choice of people he thinks he has a clear advantage over, and then skip the games he sees more of a challenge. So we'll see if Joel Embiid is going to play tonight. But I also am looking forward to the point guard matchup between Cade Cunningham and Tyrese Maxey. This is a battle of two all-star level guards, potentially all NBA guards, who are looking to say, let me just stamp my ticket for being a first team all-star selection versus coming off the bench. Who's better? You or me? Right? Donovan Mitchell certainly did that when he faced the Detroit Pistons and Cade Cunningham. And at the same time, this is an opportunity for Cade Cunningham to kind of get his lick back a little bit, to reaffirm that, no, I'm an all-star guard. And I think that we all think that he is. But if another all-star guard in your conference kicks your ass in a head-to-head matchup, you kind of have to reevaluate it. Now, considering also that they faced the Philadelphia 76ers in only a couple games after this game, makes it even more interesting. Because if Cade or let's just say the whole team in general, does or does not show up, or does not come out with the W, they have an opportunity to get their lick back real quick. And so we're going to see a lot of adjustments. We're going to see a lot of potential things that are or are not done well in this game made up for very quickly. Now, when I think about who I would probably vote on, I mean, I I like the Pistons. I think Jalen Duren will have the ability to dominate the interior just with his athleticism and speed, getting out in transition. I think that you will see the Philadelphia 76ers try to pressure the guards of the Detroit Pistons to slow down that pace, giving Embiid more time to get back if he's playing. If he's not, uh, look for the other bigs. What's his name? Watkins or Watson, uh, Walker, those guys to play that energy big type of a role, right? Adam Bona, those guys are going to be energy bigs. They're going to be sprinting up and down, trying to play Duran physical. I don't think Duran will have as much of a hard time containing them offensively, but they're going to be trying to get Duran moving, and they're also going to shoot threes. So it's going to be interesting to see how Duran responds. Can he contain? Can he impose his will against a team that's a little bit more suited for a playoff level team, a team that's going to be more deliberate? And of course, we have Andre Drummond, Detroit Pistons ties. And so it will be interesting to see how this plays out. A couple other notes that I have is Asar Thompson cannot get into foul trouble in this game. He is the one factor on the perimeter who can contain. He's the one factor. He's the one factor. Oh, I didn't realize Embiid played last night. I didn't even check. I mean, I don't be checking all the Sixers games. But if he did, I guess he chose the game he would rather play. And who did they play last night? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. And I wouldn't be shocked if this is a game that Philadelphia kicks the can down the road on, considering that it's a back to back. They may just decide to play the bench mob. But then again, they're young. They are a very young team. So sitting guys, that's more of like a veteran team move. Um, yeah, Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Quentin Grimes, Jerry McCain. These are all young guys. So I kind of expect them to all play outside of Embiid. And if Embiid played last night, I guess he chose not to have to face Durant. But I'm curious who they played last night, because I wonder if it's confirming this theory that I have that Embiid cherry picks his games now that he's on such heavy minutes restriction, and also not playing back to backs just to preserve his body. Who did they play last night? Who did they play last night? How long do I think Stu will be out? I think he's going to be out for a while. That game looked kind of ugly. I mean that ankle sprain looked pretty ugly. Uh, but then I wouldn't be shocked, if Big Stu is a warrior about it. He's like, you know what? I'm able to play through it. It's not that big of a deal. But I also see the Pistons likely weighing on the side of caution and not trying to push him. I think they played Toronto, Aaron. Uh, yeah, I think Gretzky said they played Toronto. Gretzky, it's good to see you in the chat, bro. Solo Aces is good to see you as well. Mark Wood, it's good to see you as well. Uh, yeah, because I know that because Cleveland played the Chicago Bulls because DeAndre Hunter has the crossover ankle breaker of the season. I don't think it gets any more definitively great calling it an ankle breaker, considering he literally broke uh, Josh Giddey's ankle on that crossover. And it wasn't even that nasty of a crossover, but damn, the way Giddey fell, I would have thought it was the reincarnate of Allen Iverson. I mean, hot damn, he crossed and Giddey just stepped on his own ankle. That was crazy. That was crazy. Uh, all this to say is, I guess Joel Embiid preferred the Jakob Podol-less Toronto Raptors interior to try to play against rather than the Detroit Pistons, which I think is confirming more and more my theory all along. Like Joel Embiid doesn't like competition. I don't think Joel Embiid likes competition. I don't. I think he cherry picks. I think he's kind of soft. I think he lacks heart. 10-man status. Uh, and not just because of the injuries. And I don't want to, knock anybody for injuries because injuries happen. Knock on wood, right? But it's to say he doesn't select the games. He doesn't circle games on his calendar like, "Oh, this is where I get to prove myself. This is my moment to prove myself." Um, and that's a damn shame. To me, that is definitely an asterisk on his career. I get it. He's got an MVP, a lot of All-Star appearances, a lot of stats. He's been ugly in the playoffs throughout his entire career. He has not been a playoff performer. His overall stat lines always go down in the playoffs when it matters the most. He's never been that leader. He's never been that dog. He's never been that guy. Um, he's allowed Nikola Jokic to reign throughout his era, his peak, unchallenged. Despite his MVP year, I think they just gave it to him like they gave Karl Malone over Jordan, you know, like they gave Derrick Rose over LeBron. Like this other guy's clearly better, but we got to, mix it up a little bit because it's getting a bit monotonous. I think that's how I see Joel Embiid's career. Um, yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a player more adverse to competition than Joel Embiid. He would not. It's easier to get into the Hall of Fame in the NBA than it is, let's say, the NFL, for sure. But I would say for me, I just look at him very different. Joel Embiid is, man, he's down there. Whew. He's not as high as you would think that he should be when it comes to the all-time greats, considering his stats and his talent. All that's to say is Philadelphia, yeah, probably are likely without Joel Embiid. Um, so expect Adem Bona, Andre Drummond to be a collective pair of bigs that do their best to slow down Jalen Duren. This is a game that I really hope the Detroit Pistons can show their maturity. And the maturity I'm looking for is to stay out of foul trouble, to move their feet, be in position, play defense with their feet, not their hands, because Tyrese Maxey, Quentin Grimes, like I said, Jared McCain, VJ Edgecombe, even Kelly Oubre will certainly make the Pistons pay for playing with their hands. They're going to get into a lot of foul trouble. They're going to allow those guys to eat at the free throw line if they're playing with their hands instead of their feet. I would love to see the Detroit Pistons locked in on trusting one another. If they get beat, go into rotation and rotate accordingly. Show that you can beat teams by being good defenders, even if you're not making the great plays nonstop. That is what I would hope for. I don't know if we'll see that, but I'm optimistic. I think, if anything, this is a close win by the Detroit Pistons. Let's say the Pistons win by 8. They win by 8, likely closer to like 4 or 5 down the stretch, but Cade probably makes a big shot. Asar gets a big stop or two. Um, and then you see the Pistons pull it out. Hey, as always, I got to get off. I got to go get my little one a little bit earlier today. Y'all have an amazing day. Get this sunshine, get this vitamin D out there. Spend some time with your loved ones because why not? They're the people that are there for you no matter what, or for the most part, have been there the longest and tend to, need your care even if they don't always look it. And showing up sometimes and just hanging out provides more than what we would really realize it does. So hope y'all have an amazing day. Love y'all. Thank y'all for showing up. Smash the like button for me. Hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. Keep the conversation going in the chat section about this upcoming game. I will definitely holler back at you there. And I'm out. Peace.